Good afternoon, everyone. Past District Governor Lyle, past District Governors, fellow members of the Governor's String, fellow Rotarians, welcome to another gobsmacking session that you're about to have. Membership, recruitment, and retention is one of the pillars of what we do. We can't be anything without each other. We can't be alone and function as a Rotary Club. We need each other, we need members. So this afternoon session is going to help you through the tools of recruitment and retention. And we have the guru on membership in our district. He's the chairman of the Rotary International Membership Committee. So we couldn't have asked for better. He belongs to us. We have him all the time. A great resource, and I know that he takes calls from not only our district, all over the world. They call him. So my word to you is listen, take notes, come back to the presentation after, ask your questions. We are here to help, we're here to advise. These sessions give you the tools to a successful Rotary year. Fellow Rotarians, I ask you to not only attend these sessions, I ask you to go to the Learning Center, do those courses, go and make sure that you are reading on Rotary.org. These make for successful officers of your various areas. Membership is key. So this area, I'm asking that you pay close attention to what PDG David is going to say today. So sit back, have your notes ready, your notepads ready. This is going to be another session that we don't want to end. Thanks very much.
Thank you, DGE Sonia. It is my privilege this afternoon to present the bio on someone who I am honored to call my friend and my mentor. Past District Governor David Edwards is a professional real estate valuer and a justice of the peace. He joined Rotary in 1978 and is a member of the Rotary Club of Barbados. He was the Centennial District Governor for District 7 to 30 during Rotary year 2004-2005 and the founding chair of the District 7 to 30 Governors Council. David has been at the forefront of regional disaster relief assistance in the Caribbean from 1982 to present. He served District 7 to 30 at the 2013 Council on Legislation and has been a member of the RI Directors Nominating Committee. He has served as a trainer both at the district and zone levels as ARRFC for Zone 34, Public Image Chair for Zone 34, DRFC for District 7 to 30, and the Zone 33-34 Institute Executive on 6 occasions. He now serves as chair of the Rotary International Membership Committee. David served as assistant to RI President in Barry Racine in 2018-2019, and RI President-elect Sam Owori deceased in the same capacity. He also served as the RI President's representative on several occasions. David has received the Citation for Meritorious Service Award as well as the RI Service Above Self Award. Both he and his partner in service, Donna, are major donors to the Rotary Foundation. PDG David, welcome, and thank you for facilitating this session.
Thank you, Luana. I'll just organize my screen share. Get that going here. Get that organized and we'll be right up. And we should be in business here. So thank you, Luana, for your kind introduction. DG Lyle and DG Sonia, fellow past governors and members of the Governor's String, Leslie and Brian as well. Thank you, and Sonia, thank you for inviting me to make this presentation. Thank you too for all the presidents, secretaries, and directors for agreeing to serve your clubs in the 2021-2022 Rotary year. We know all of us are busy, and of course, there are many opportunities of service in other organizations, so we thank you for giving your time to Rotary. Let us start this afternoon's presentation with the recruitment aspect. At the outset, I want to remind you that there's no one-size-fits-all template to dictate recruitment procedures, as they differ widely depending on what you're recruiting for. Having said that, there are some proven principles and procedures that can guide us to successful recruitment for your Rotary Club. What we can achieve here is ideas that may assist your club in achieving different results than they are at present, hopefully positively. So let us commence with a membership recruitment plan. Does your club have a membership recruitment plan? If your answer is no, you should seriously consider drafting one now. Recruiting new members constantly is one of the most important aspects in securing the future of your club. So you must set goals and develop strategies to achieve this. How much do we want to grow in the next 3 years? Is there an optimum number that is envisaged? Follow through, of course, with the objectives because this is crucial. No plan for the club is worthwhile without the engagement of the club itself. So you must communicate with them both in the development stage and share the recommended final outcome at your first club assembly prior to the start of the year, of the Rotary year that would be. When we proceed to the actual recruitment process, does the club have criteria for the selection of members? We can plan to increase our membership by 10, but who are we looking for? 10 bankers, 10 lawyers, or are we looking for 10 persons in diverse professions who could enhance the club experience? In our next slide, I will expand on how we achieve these goals. Again, critical to success will be informing all members as to what the club is trying to achieve, as members are the ones who are implementing the plan. So to communicate this effectively to the club, it would be wise to have a club membership committee. This committee should be focused on encouraging members to introduce prospective members and then conduct due diligence on proposals and make the necessary recommendations to the board. This committee will monitor and publish a classification survey, briefly mentioned earlier. This is a very important tool in assisting in the implementation of the membership plan. Of course, even if there is a classification survey or list in existence, it certainly is important to update the names and types of professions as these have changed significantly over the years. When I was first involved on my club membership committee, our classification list had no such thing as an information technology manager or technology specialist or marine biologist with specialty in the blue economy. Nothing even similar. These are now everyday professional designations, so the list must reflect the current business interests. And we should do a membership survey. Now, how do we do this survey? I suggest that we poll members on what they think will be suitable classifications. There are many options for simple polls that can be utilized. Give them the options. The list, so let's maybe say 3 classifications that their members think could benefit the club. Just last week, PAG Katrina used a poll in her presentation, and these polls can be easily adapted to suit your needs. So when we are looking to recruit persons, this now very topical diversity, equity, and inclusion certainly will be topical. It's very much discussed in recent times, and how it affects each club differs. Of course, today I'm looking specifically at recruitment. Does your club reflect the society in which you are operating? Have we embraced all persons possible? As a global network that strives to build a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change, Rotary values diversity and celebrates the contributions of people of all backgrounds, regardless of their age, ethnicity, race, color, abilities, religion, socioeconomic status, culture, sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity. A top priority for Rotary is growing and diversifying our membership to make sure we reflect the communities we serve. We are creating an organization that is more open and inclusive, fair to all, builds goodwill, and benefits our communities. We want people with differing perspectives and ideas who will help Rotary to take the action to create this lasting change I just mentioned in communities around the world. Through Rotary, there are unique opportunities to get involved. Everyone is welcome in Rotary. The Chief Diversity Officer of the University of Michigan, Robert Sellers, speaking on diversity, equity, and inclusion recently, likened them to various aspects of attending a dance. He said, and I quote, "Diversity is where everyone is invited to the party. Equity means that everyone gets to contribute to the playlist. And inclusion means that everyone has the opportunity to dance." Now we speak of project participation. Invite new and prospective, and you will hear me use the word prospective, members to participate in club service projects. Involve them, that's the perspectives, minimally at first, so that they can observe how we do business and maybe offer suggestions for improvement. Of course, I recommend that this starts as soon as they become prospective members and should be encouraged to take part in all club projects with their sponsor. This is a fantastic tool to assess them, inform them of the benefits of Rotary membership as appropriate in your location, and impress that there are also benefits by being a member of a worldwide organization engaged in a wide range of projects and offering fellowship to all. Give them increasing roles and try to match their skills with the tasks required wherever possible. Discuss these things. No use putting someone, as they say, to mix drinks when they prefer to run the barbecue grill. And then we come to the orientation and new membership kit. The orientation session. A significant proportion of new members who resign do so in their early years of membership. One recurring complaint from those who leave is the lack of orientation and mentorship. Clubs need to develop a formal new member orientation program, major at the time just prior to induction, but also recurring for at least the first year. This enables the member to understand the workings of the club, the organization generally, and how his or her contributions can be effectively made. I also recommend completing the Rotary Basics course as at least a minimum requirement. Members should also be provided with a welcome pack, which could include important information about the club, its structure, and other useful items. Could even be as simple as a Rotary shirt. However, do not overload the new member. Keep the information brief and to the point. But also remember to include some of the light-hearted elements as well. Everything can't be so serious. If not, we would not be a club, but a military outfit. And then we speak of the resources of Rotary International. Rotary International has a huge range of resources for clubs wanting to develop their membership. Find the membership development guide, PowerPoint presentations, and other resources on the RI website. I'm not going to repeat the excellent presentation by Marnie Nixon from RI last week, but the use of the tools on the RI website can greatly enhance the recruitment efforts of any club. And I urge the repeated use of these resources. When we speak of Rotary alumni, you should be keeping an up-to-date list of these Rotary alumni. Individuals who have participated in Rotary activities, like RIDA, the former group study exchange, which we still have a large number of participants who are still uninvited, ambassadorial scholars, youth exchange participants, and former Interact and Rotaractors. This list is an excellent source of potential members. Another area in our planning for recruiting members, but neglected, is retired persons. Yes, we have talked about aging clubs, etc. for decades. But what could be wrong in bringing the experience of a recently retired person to our membership? Some of the most dedicated secretaries and treasurers of clubs are retirees who have just a little more time for some of these tasks. Again, times change. Many years ago, retired persons were generally in the 65 or over category. Nowadays, it's not uncommon to find retirees from 50 and over. This is a category not to be dismissed. Another category that should not be dismissed is the new cadre of professionals working from home as a result of the pandemic and who may now opt to do so permanently. We also have to promote ourselves and our activities. And this helps our ability to attract new members and to attract partners or sponsors to support our work, which would be almost impossible nowadays without them. So we need to promote ourselves. There are several available social media and traditional platforms available. I do not profess to easily recognize all the symbols on the screen, although I do know many. Only a short while ago, a website was the standard of communication on the internet. Now it is but one of the vast platforms available. The message here is to promote on the platform you find relevant to your club and circumstances, but promote we must. And I certainly recommend that we pay forward. Don't be fooled by the misconception that young people are not interested in or desire to become involved in volunteering. The biggest possible growth area in volunteering is targeting young people to encourage and guide them towards wanting to be future members. This can be best done by forming early act, Interact, and Rotaract clubs. And now I move to some items of retention. The slide shows a magnet attracting a wide cross-section of persons. My personal view is that well-conceived fellowship events can be this magnet to attract persons who want to serve. Service. Service. This is the same word Jenny Stotts used in her video a few moments ago. There has to be an atmosphere conducive to persons wanting to be a part of any organization, also very well brought out in Jenny's video again just now. We must strive to make sure that the magnet is attractive and not dismissive. Whether a club is brand new or has a club member that is brand new or has been a Rotarian for many years, it is vitally important to let each member know that they are an important part of the club. Today, there are numerous other opportunities that are competing for Rotarians' interests, time, and money. So it's up to the local club to help make sure all members feel connected. Do what is necessary to ensure Rotary is a meaningful part of all members' lives. It is important to be proactive in membership retention and not wait until several members submit their resignation before a club addresses the issue of retention. Invest in volunteer energy in keeping your current members active and interested is time well spent. One club I'm aware of, for example, has a 6-point strategy that they use. They said they inform, they invite to membership, they induct, they orient, they educate, and they involve. And my good friend PGG Joe Otin in Kenya recently said, it seems that Rotary clubs are not really good at attracting new members, are really good at attracting new members, but they fall flat when it comes to retention. And the membership data supports this. Therefore, if we take a moment to view our membership engagement strategies with a lens from the top brands, we will find ourselves in the realm of customer service, after-sales service, and creating brand experiences for our customers who are our members. Mobile phones such as the iPhone and Galaxy focus on the brand experience, which factors all the moments that customers come into contact with their product, from advertising to buying to usage and the additional services that enhance customer satisfaction. Every step is important because it leads to customer loyalty and future profitability. With this idea in mind, Rotary clubs should adopt a customer-centric approach to membership and ensure that each customer touch point is handled with the thoughtfulness and care that will lead to a memorable and enjoyable experience. End of quote from Joe. Membership engagement and retention, I say, is a continuous process, not a once-a-year crash program implemented in desperation to boost members. Clubs should identify members to support new members in their first year of membership. Clearly define the role you want these mentors to play and provide them with some basic mentor training if necessary. However, the sponsor may not always be the best mentor. Some sponsors may themselves be recipients of mentoring, still new members, but that should not deter them from bringing other new members. Appoint at least one mentor for each new club member. And we should also have a meet and greet with members. In this virtual world, we can invite guests from time to time to say a few brief words among a small group, or we could hold, when possible, we can hold small targeted fellowship functions to meet and greet new members so that they can become acquainted with the members of the club. This is very important. And then we come to the nuts and bolts of what we really do, engagement in projects. There's no better avenue that I am aware of to promote engagement than having projects where members participate. This certainly ticks 2 boxes. One would be engagement itself, the hands-on type, and 2 would be fellowship among the participating members. I am suggesting these are the 2 most critical cogs in the wheel of retention. I am not aware of any club that has regular engaging projects with involvement of members that do not have a high retention rate. Alternatively, I know from data of several that are not regularly participating in projects that include a wide cross-section of members, and these are having problems retaining and attracting members. This is not a District 7030 problem. It is a worldwide phenomenon. Several years ago, many Silicon Valley companies, obviously not lacking in funds, started programs where staff members could opt to work from home or just stand in a corner with a cocktail-height table or any adaptation that suited them if they wanted to work. This was revolutionary then. The staff retention rate was very high because options were offered according to the desires of the individuals. In the last year, the global pandemic has changed office and workplaces in such ways that have never been imagined by companies or staff. Now we have engagement taking place from homes or wherever remote offices can be set up, even on the beach in Barbados and other Caribbean countries. We in Rotary are no different. We must keep providing different avenues for members to become engaged in this changed world as we do things so differently. Opportunities to serve are not limited to painting buildings or environmental projects that are mostly physical, but exists also with virtual programs like training, both in the community or with special needs persons, just to mention a few. And having done all of these great projects, we have to remember to recognize the work of our members and associates who complete them. It's not that everyone has to get a plaque or even wants a plaque or a certificate, but certainly recognition, at least at club level, is desirable. Maybe there could be some type of competition based on hours of engagement over the year, similar to the awards given to clubs as citations by the Rotary International President and our district governor, having achieved a predetermined set of criteria. Or clubs could have their own member of the month or member of the quarter to recognize a Rotarian or group of Rotarians who exemplify service above self. And perhaps we could even go further and consider Rotarian of the quarter, but only from the cadre of members joining, say, in the last 2 years, and then have another category for over 2 years. The idea is that recognition is spread across the club. We also have to seek out member preferences. Again, Jenny's video spoke of this just now. Members should be given the opportunity to discuss their preferences for engagement in the club. This is not to say that they should not be encouraged to participate in all possible projects, but they may have a preference to lead their own project in a specific avenue. Do not deny them this opportunity. Just by way of a little story, this method can also be used to re-engage older members who may have, for one reason or other, become disengaged. A member of my club was not very engaged a few years ago and was spoken to as to the cause. Business travel has seriously affected his Rotary life, but he was ready to become involved again. When asked what he would like to do, he indicated that he was thinking of a project about homelessness and those living on the streets. Having been given the green light to proceed, he not only organized sponsorship, but also assembled a professional film crew to produce a documentary. The said Rotarian then proceeded to himself spend a weekend living homeless in Bridgetown as the subject of the documentary. This was an extremely successful on all levels, and as a bonus, the revenue from sponsorship exceeded the cost of filming by over $8,000, making it a financial success as well. This was all the result of asking one Rotarian, what would you like to do? And having determined their preferences, it is imperative that members be placed on committees that meet. And I say that deliberately, that meet. so that the load is equitably spread among members. Committee chairs should also be chosen using the same criteria of interest and skill set. Younger members should not be denied the lead if they are the best suited to the task. Too many clubs have the notion that you have to serve your time first. The idea, as this slide depicts, is not to leave anyone behind. Give everyone a helping hand. And then we come to fellowship activities. Hosting fellowship activities are integral to the functioning of any club. Projects can serve the dual purpose of fellowship and engagement, but there is no replacement for genuine fellowship and fun activities. This is where the bonds are developed among members and family. It is no secret that many clubs have members that do not know some of their fellow members, far less their spouses or partners. This problem is easily solved with targeted fellowship events. This should be simple and not expensive. Now I turn to speakers programs. Having a relevant speaker is integral to the members' interest in meetings. A well-designed and managed guest speaker program can make meetings with the same interests I spoke about and also serve to educate on hot topics, except of course they're political. Clubs should always be on the lookout for topical speakers relevant to the social and business or sporting activity in the area that may inform and entertain. This should not be left to one person only, as input on possible speakers should be sought from all members. Speakers can also be matched to the Rotary monthly themes. In all cases, the program has to be organized so that any extra assistance the speaker needs is in place and on time. Of course, that's when we're meeting in person, or that presentations are formatted to suit the platform being used virtually. Time constraint should be clearly communicated to speakers. Speakers who go on for twice the allotted time usually end up speaking to only a handful of people, as members' time commitment to the meeting may have expired. Member education. There's a plethora of courses. We touched on this briefly as well in the Learning Center at Rotary.org. Members should be encouraged to take these courses. Again, some form of reward system could be developed to encourage participation in these courses, which are actually recorded by RI. Having said that, there's also room for a club trainer or senior Rotarian to lead specific modules on issues targeted to training courses relevant to the particular club. Again, with our new virtual platform, this can be easily achieved. I also recommend highly using your assistant governor as a resource person. They have received special training and want to form a bond with your club. Don't always wait for them to take the initiative. And I come now to district conferences and international conventions. District conferences are held annually for reasons of training, fellowship, and conducting district business. But things have changed so dramatically in the last year since COVID-19 that we're meeting virtually for the second year for PECs and the district conference. This, however, does not change the spirit, purpose, or intention of the conference. There's much better fellowship, obviously, if we can meet in person, but we have to adapt and change. This is the circumstance we are now confronted with, and everyone should be encouraged to participate. The fact that we are meeting virtually affords everyone the opportunity to be involved at minimal or no cost. Regardless of the format, members should be encouraged to participate. When we meet in person again, members will get the opportunity to have that proverbial drink with friends they have met virtually. Extend a personal invitation, and this is specifically to club presidents extend a personal invitation to members to attend these seminars or conferences. Some are unsure about district events and sit on the sidelines waiting to be asked. It's a wonderful opportunity for them to get a broader picture and understanding of Rotary. The same goes for international conventions. These conventions provide opportunities to meet so many people from different countries with one common purpose. Clubs are encouraged to use members with convention experience to address the club at intervals during the year to encourage participation. I doubt you can find a Rotarian that attended an international convention or district conference for that matter that was not motivated by their attendance and who cherishes the acquaintances made. The speakers at the conventions alone would be a good enough reason to attend. Rotary does not exist only in our town or our country, but is a very diverse international organization which members are encouraged to explore. Attendance at conventions affords an opportunity to grasp this significance. And finally, we come to the end and to questions, so I will close at this point and encourage some questions. Thank you for the opportunity, DG Sonia and District Trainer. As I said at the outset, neither recruitment or retention methods are an exact science. Every jurisdiction will have different opportunities and problems, so it is incumbent upon each club to adapt these general guidelines and procedures to facilitate their recruitment and by extension, their retention. Good recruitment coupled with engagement and fellowship almost eliminates the issue of retention. Let us all resolve to aim for that outcome. My thoughts on the benefit of Rotary membership is captured in the words of the noted American philosopher and poet Ralph Waldo Emerson, who said, and I quote, "It is one of the most beautiful compensations of this life that no man can sincerely try to help another without helping himself." Thank you.
Thank you, PDG David. As usual, on the ball, on the spot. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is fresh and new, I think definitely can add some value to membership. We do have some questions in the chat box, and you talked about mentorship here, which is key. And Adish is asking, what should be the period of mentorship?
Sorry, the period of mentorship, I recommend a year. And there is a, the reason I personally say a year is that I've always felt that every club has the opportunity, and many clubs actually do have recurring projects and events. So over the course of a year, you get to have one such event that you can tell them, well, the club does this, the members does this for that event, and so on and so forth, even down to how you dress for some events, which can be very important. You know, some events are casual, some events have certain dignitaries attending, and so on, that you may want to dress a little different. Little things like that are all the things that mentors should be able to help new members with. It's not that they can't work out some of the things themselves, but it's always good to walk them through each project and event so that they become up to date on how the club works. So a year is what I recommend for that reason.
But it could also be, and I'm sure you would agree with that, a continuous membership, especially for young people, especially coming in at an age where they may not be at the top of the game in their own sphere of vocation.
Right, and that's why I said at least, because there is no doubt that mentorship doesn't really stop, to be honest.
Sure.
Good mentors are always continuous, so that's why I said at least a year, but I know that mentorship continues all the time.
Thank you. Rita is asking, what she's saying is that when asked in terms of, asking persons about their interests and what it is they want to do, sometimes you don't get, no response, and sometimes it's widely spread in the club itself. So she was wondering, how can you deal with such a situation?
Well, good question, but I've always found that the one-to-one aspect there is how you find out these things. A lot of members, you actually have to pull these things out. That is, Rita is spot on there. You have to pull it out of them. But the way you do that is by having those one-to-one chats. You might not get it the first time or the second time, but by the third time, I'm sure you'll get something. Have that coffee together every now and then, and find out what their interests are and so on. And eventually you will find out something that the club is doing that will interest them, I'm sure. But it's the one-to-one, is the an appeal at the club every week meeting, every week's meeting doesn't necessarily do it. It's the one-to-one you have to get.
Right. Jalim is asking a question which I'm sure you'll be quickly able to respond to, because the question that comes up a lot, where there's this generational gap between the younger members and the older members, and the older members are seeing more rule-based oriented, and the young members may feel tied down to rules and may not feel so liberated. And he's wondering whether you had any words of wisdom to share on bridging that gap.
Well, I don't know how you could say that I do that quickly, because I identify with the younger group. So let me put that up front. I identify with the younger group, and I actually, all fun and jokes aside, I think that's the crux of the matter there.
Yeah.
Many clubs, many members in clubs feel some type of superiority because of their age in the club, not necessarily age, but age in the club, length of time. I certainly don't subscribe to that. I know probably a lot of my club members are on here, so they can tell you in the chat if I'm telling lies. But I identify with all of the younger group, and try especially to reach out to them. And I think that's what's lacking in probably a lot of clubs. There's too much. I think what the Jalim said, rules based. Too much of that. The rules say, or we do it this way only, or we have done it last year. This is how I did it. You have to do it. We're dealing with people who have the same opportunities as us to run businesses, and they might come with a much better prospect and better ideas than we've had before. So you have to give them the opportunity. That's the key to this whole thing. Give people the opportunity to do things. Don't necessarily do it for them. Only 2 nights ago, and it just happens that one of my club members, Ron Davis's face is on the screen in front of me, so I can use his name. He's my good friend. Only 2 nights ago, he told me, "But you really were hard on me with it." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because I thought you had done that for me." I said, "No, I pointed you where you could go and find the form on RI, and you do it yourself. Because if I do it for you constantly, you will call me the next time as well." So it's that type of thing. You have to work along with people, help, but you have to also pass off too.
Yeah.
So it's a two-way street. You have to work along with people.
Thank you, David. I know you've crossed
too many
rules.
rules.
The divide.
Yeah, too many rules are. I'm not one for all these rules. So I believe in rules, and rules are to be followed. But the rules I'm speaking of that I don't necessarily believe in are the ones made on the foot by members, not the ones written in the book. The ones made by members to suit the purpose to which they are responding. I don't believe in those rules.
Okay, thank you. All right, Kenneth is asking, what is the most appropriate time for the length of meetings? I know most clubs have an hour, but I don't know.
And that depends, because the traditional lunchtime meeting, an hour of meeting time is appropriate, because after all, people are taking time off from work. So it's sort of what we traditionally called the lunch hour. But there are clubs that meet in the evening that meet longer, have meetings that go on longer, but the actual official meeting is usually about an hour. And then the after meeting is for fellowship, but the official meeting time is about an hour. That's fairly standard across the world.
All right, thank you. Evangeli is asking if a club inducts 6 members, if it's a good idea to have those 6 members think of a project and execute it as a new members project under the guidance, of course, of their membership chair. Is that a good idea?
Well, good idea, as long as there are 6 compatible people, and I mean compatible from the point of view of interest. It depends what the project is, you know. The project would have to be one that crosses all 6 of them easily, as opposed to one that they might have just been forced upon them. So yes and no. I great idea of having them do a project on their own right away, but as long as it is convenient to them.
There's no more questions in the chat. And so at this point, I'd like to hand over to...
I was just seeing the last thing here saying, I'm just reading it in the rules and procedures, the prospective member is one. Oh, that was by case, yeah, okay. PDG case, yes, and he's correct, yeah. Want to become after approval by all members, right? That's why we call them prospective.
No. Okay,
Sorry?
right, yeah. Oh, yeah, yes. Keisha's asking, yeah, what is a prospective member?
Yeah, and he's right. One who is before his introduction and approval. So there are many people who we think might be interested in Rotary or have shown an interest that they could be, and you can bring them along to meetings, and if they show further interest when you're having events and projects, by all means invite them. That's the best way to see if they're really interested. By just as a matter of interest, there are some clubs, and both Rotary and Rotaract clubs, that make this a provision before they can be become introduced to the club. They must go through like 6 months of projects as part of the criteria before they're actually introduced.
I know some Rotaract clubs actually do that. There are more questions, so yeah. Pardon me on that one. Avery is asking how to treat with a potential new member, prospective member, who is not a culture match or a source of conflict, etc.
Well, I would think they shouldn't be prospective if they're a source of conflict. They shouldn't reach the stage of being prospective at all. The cultural match is a difficult one. I would think that's a fairly wide description there, which I don't necessarily agree with. But if I read it the way I think it's meant, the cultural match can only occur if a member brings that perspective. So it can't be a cultural mismatch if I'm going to put it in the opposite for the answer. That is one that is driven by the member bringing. But the conflict person certainly should never even see the light of being a prospective member. You could have answered that.
Okay. Balmati is asking a question. How do you deal with members who join for status, doesn't want to be on the board or accept any leadership roles, attend or even participate in very few activities and projects?
I think a good assessment. That's why I said, you know, the early assessment before they are introduced to the club should solve some of this problem. I know people will say the right things and do the right things if they want to join anything, any organization, not Rotary alone. They know the boxes that need to be ticked. And if, however, you find early in their tenure, because they will get in, if you find early in their tenure that they're not doing anything, I think it's not difficult to tell them, that you expect them to become more engaged. And you know, without embarrassing people, I think again a one-to-one with people always helps. You tell them, listen, you know, you've come into the club, but we haven't seen you participating in anything. You know, you just turn up at meetings and leave. And are you really wanting to stay? So I'm not saying that you tell them to leave necessarily right away, but ask them if they really think they want to stay. It's a nice way to put it, you know.
Yeah.
Cheryl,
Arlene is asking, how do you retain members who are financially unable to pay dues as a result of lost jobs during the pandemic?
depends on how widespread it is in the club. If clubs have a major problem with it, I know it's a big problem. But the one-off, as we say, the one-off, two-off cases, a lot of that is being dealt with internally by other club members. I'm aware of many clubs. I've talked to many who are helping their members either by not charging them dues, or in a lot of cases where their friends and mentors are taking up that slack for them without letting the club know. Because that's also important. It's not a time to be demeaning people, and that will cause even further problems. So can be handled quietly by members who are willing to help that individual.
Yes, true enough. I think those are all the questions in the chat box, but at this point, I think we do open out for persons to ask live questions. Just indicate if those persons are interested, anybody's interested in asking any live questions of David. You can just put your hand up. No? None? Lisa, you're seeing any? All right. At this point, I'd like to hand over to PAG Luana. Thank you, PG David.
Thank you, PDG David and Past President Liz. Quickly, some housekeeping matters. Please continue to register for the Learning Center courses. Our next prepared session will be held on Thursday, March 25th. It will be working as a team and will be facilitated by Past President Liz. And I can guarantee you, having been in a lot of Rotary and non-Rotary training with PP Liz, it's going to be an interesting one. Registration for Pets and District Conference is also open. While they have individual registration available, we're encouraging clubs to utilize the club rate of $500, which will permit all club members entry into the sessions. Also, please get your white polo tees ready, completely branded with the conference logo. And again, please submit your names for your club trainer to me as early as possible. That's a wrap for this afternoon. DGE Sonia, would you like to say a few words in closing?
Thanks, Luana. Just want to say I promised you a great session, and that it was. Many points to ponder, lots of resources given. So these sessions are designed to leave you thinking, leave you going back to rethink what you're doing in your clubs. So thank you very much, PDG David, for facilitating such a fabulous session. And thank you to everyone for joining us this evening. And we look forward to seeing you on Thursday. Take care. Stay safe.
Past President Cheryl.
Thank you, PAG Luana. It is my pleasure to give the vote of thanks to PDG David this evening. David, it was a pleasure listening to you this evening on recruitment and retention, which is critical to the survival of Rotary and the work we as Rotarians do. Thank you for sharing your wealth of knowledge on the topic with us. As a member of my club's membership committee, I feel reinvigorated. So thank you for that. And I'm certain that if most of us follow the advice that you gave, indeed Rotary will be in great hands going forward. So thank you once again. To DGE Sonia, PAG Luana, the district training team, Thank you once again for organizing these sessions, which are very important and very provides a lot of information for all of the incoming officers. We thank you for all the work that goes on behind the scenes. And to the technical team, again, thank you again. Without you, we will not be able to see each other through this forum. And the session went very smoothly. So thanks once again for all the work you do in ensuring all the logistics and everything for the meetings. Once again, good evening to everyone. Have a good night. Be safe, everyone.